Alexis, CEO of WeTransact. Today, I'm so excited to have on Assel, which is really co-founder of Paperstack and has just completed, I'm so excited, your pre-seed. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing this story and talking to fellow founders in the fundraising trenches.
Hi, Alexis. Thank you so much for having me, and happy to share and excited to share my journey.
This is so cool. Well, first of all, big congratulations. Let's enjoy and we can live vicariously through your celebration. Tell us, what did you do as soon as you got funded? What was it like?
We got funded, but I think you think that once you get funded, then things will just magically change around, right? But it's not really. Then you have the next challenges, then the next challenges, and now I'm at the stage where I'm transitioning. Like if before my day-to-day responsibilities were like just pitching, but now I have to think about hiring, recruiting, and then doing the next strategies maybe like now we started onboarding more clients for our beta and content strategy and etc. So like other more exciting things, to be honest with you, than fundraising, definitely.
I love it. Yeah, it's when the work begins, right? We hear that a lot is okay, you've gotten your funding, but you haven't started the job yet.
Yes, so it's exciting, but I got a little bit, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but like you get lost for a day or so. Like you're like, so where do I start first, right? Because when you're doing fundraising, you only have like one goal, one job: money, right? Just simple it is. Get another
Yeah.
investor, work on your cap table. But now you have like so many things, and now you have to prioritize. What do you want to take the first one? And you just wake up, you have so many emails. You're like, okay, just replying faster and doing what is next? What is next now?
That's so good that you share that like transition period because it's like a frame shift. Your mind goes from one skill and habit, which you've refined and you've gotten that fundraising process to a whole new way of operating day to day. Amazing. Well, let's dive right in. A lot of the founders, of course, are in the trenches or about to start their fundraising. And I'm just going to throw it to you to talk about kind of your strategy. You guys really implemented some interesting strategies and maybe some worked and some didn't. So let's just dive in and start talking about some of the strategies that you used.
So
Yeah.
the way we started is like we got very fortunate because when we started doing started our venture, we had a lot of advisors helping out us. Like from day one, early on, like we had an idea, let's put it this way, and then people were like jumping on a call with us on like bi-weekly basis, on a monthly basis, just helping us out, to grow from 0 to 1 essentially.
Yeah.
And then when we started getting tractions, our advisors were like, you guys should raise now. This is the time. And then it was summer, and then you would think we always hear that summer is like almost the worst time to fundraise. And then we're like, sure, I guess we'll do it. We've never done fundraising before, just FYI. And we didn't know like what's expecting from us, right? And then quickly we got from existing advisors, people that were supporting us from day one, actually putting 100K together. So that was like already a huge start, the beginning, right, for us. And then the next step was like, okay, how do we take money, or how do we convince somebody who has never seen us before, never talked to us before, to actually trust? Because we're not famous. We haven't done exits before. I personally don't have like big names, big tech companies under my belt, right? So that was the challenge that we were taking. Like, so how do I convince that person that actually we are the right team to execute on this venture?
That's amazing. And I want to revisit, there's so many good things that you said, but going back to the first in checks, which are the hardest. And you guys found that within your advisors. So let's share a little bit of insight. How'd you pick advisors? How did you attract advisors since they were so key to those first in checks for you guys?
Yes, we were always open-minded. Honestly, I would always like my network was pretty strong already at that time. So I would reach out. I would reach out to like, this is what I'm thinking. You know, what do you think? What do you think? Is it actually worse? You know, because people were giving me pushbacks. You know, why are you trying to reinvent accounting? Like accounting has been already for so many years. So, but and then one person will speak to me and say, you know what, you should talk to this person. You should talk to this
Okay.
person. And then that person will say, you know what? I think you are on something. I think you guys are doing something cool. Maybe you haven't figured it out at that moment yet, but let's keep in touch. Okay,
Love it.
let's so they would show that they're open, and they would sometimes check in with us, also like just dropping message and say hi, like feel free to DM me. And so that helps us to build the relationship. But I want to tell you this very
Yeah.
clear, that when we have another call with like second follow-up or third follow-up, it's our responsibility to show the progress. We're not just like talking and saying, chit-chatting and discussing, I don't know, the recent news, and then just, you know, complaining or not complaining. It was like, okay, you told us
Yeah.
to do this, and then we tried. It didn't work out, but this is what we've learned. So that was one of the, I think, I don't want to say critical, but maybe something that helped our advisors to stay with us. And then
Yeah.
another thing I want to mention is like I reached out to a lot of women founders, women entrepreneurs, and saying, "Hey, I like what you were doing. I heard your pitch, for example. I loved it, and I want to learn from you. I want to be pitching like you." And I'll ask their advice, or if they've recently raised, right? And then one of the person that I've reached out is Erica Pearson. She was
Yeah.
a founder of Vacation Fund, amazing lady. And then she jumped on a call with me. I was like, this is what I have. What should I do next? And she gave me a lot of advice, a lot of actual actionable items. And one of the
Yeah.
things she told me was like, okay, you should do monthly updates. And I was
Yeah.
like, what does it mean? Like, what does it mean? And I've never done it. She was like, this is how you should be doing. She gave me a playbook, and that's what I started following. I was like,
Love it.
okay. She was like, whoever you're speaking with, whoever is cheering for you and says like, feel free to circle back with me, or you think would be, you know, helpful. Feel free to add them, and then keep posting, keep updating them, because they'll forget about you, right? If you don't remind them. So that's one of the advice that I've been implementing.
That's great advice. And especially, I think it's so important because a lot of times founders in the early stage, you may be still figuring out a lot, and that's okay. I mean, you raised your pre seed, you guys were still figuring things out, but demonstrating to your advisors early on that you listened to them, you heard them, maybe you tried an experiment, giving them that feedback, really getting them in on the team so that they feel like, okay, this person actually took my advice. Not saying that you take all advice. So definitely there's a filter, but showing when you do take their advice, something that you think is really great info, letting them know. I think early, what you're describing is this great reciprocation of people feeling like this is somebody I could work with. And that probably made it more comfortable for them to invest in you because they saw, oh, they listened to what I contributed. I was more than a check, which is really, you did that extremely well early on. And then talking to other fellow founders. I mean, what you're doing right here, paying it forward. And,
Yeah.
so I love that you kept it very like relevant and found those people that,
And
really can guide you.
and I would have not done without them, right? Thanks to every person that was like jumping on a call with me, even like actually contributing their creative and brain power towards my business. Like a lot of women founders will just jump in and say, okay, you know what? Let's go through a pitch deck. Let's pretend I am the investor. And not only women founders, actually, guys, and a lot of people just were open, and I'm super grateful. They were like, let's,
Yeah.
and they would grill me on purpose, right? They'll say,
Good.
let me
Practice.
prep, yeah, let me prep you. Or somebody who has done already fundraising, they'll say these are the typical questions they will ask. And then I'll pitch them and I'll go through their Q&A, and then they'll give me feedback. They'll be like, you know what, this question you should be answering from that angle, or like giving more context, for example. So that helped me. I'm not saying I wasn't nervous in front of investors. I was definitely, but that prep and support that other founders provided me with made a tremendous change.
That's huge. And practice is so key, like finding those trusted founders where you value their expertise, that they are open. You know, they really are there to help you. You'll be able to sense that. Like you said, you have to see who's really interested and who really is being responsive, and work with those people and be grateful and appreciative to their time. I'm sure those people were so generous with you and their time because they're also running their own amazing companies, but they probably loved working with you because you are so like doing the work and showing that you're practicing. Like that's important even with fellow founders, you know, that you're not just there
Yes,
to talk.
yes, absolutely. And like I think not going with like high expectation, not like demanding attention from them,
Yes.
is also something like I think very important to keep in mind, because everyone is running they have a life, right? They have families, they have social life, they want to also, you know, they have their businesses, their work, dreams, goals, maybe another side hustles that they're not telling to everyone, right? They're not ready yet. So there's so many things are going on, and COVID, of course, not doesn't make it easier, right? Maybe
Yeah.
somebody from their family is fighting right now for their life, so we don't
Right.
know what's going on in their life. And the fact that somebody is willing to dedicate 10-15 minutes of their time and say, okay, you know what, I already have so much information and I'm willing to take it from you just because you think you can make it. I'm super grateful. And I'm grateful for my network that offered me, also people who offered other introduction to their network and putting their name behind us. That was super helpful. And also cold messaging. Actually, it worked. Like some people were just like, I messaged totally randomly because I couldn't find any mutual connections. I would be like, hey, sorry for the cold message. Let's this is what I'm doing. I would love to get your 10-15 minutes, but I would be specific why I want to talk to them and what exactly.
Yeah. And that leads into the cold call part of your process, which I'd love to dive into next. Be specific. So let's start talking about your process, how you raised. Let's start with cold calls, since you know that's where so many people have troubles or difficulties.
I think cold calling and cold messaging is so underrated. It was like, honestly, I had to do it so many times in Canada because I'm an immigrant, right? I moved here by myself. I had nobody here. So the only way for me to start building a network is by approaching people that I've never met and I've never heard of. And yes, so cold messaging, it was part of our strategy because we were like, what if we're missing out? Yes, we have a network, we're grateful for the introduction, but maybe there is somebody is almost waiting, you know, for a certain type of founders and the company. Maybe they're looking to diversify their portfolio into fintech, like ours, for example. So we would. I will go. We'll take everything. We'll go to Twitter. There is always a spreadsheet circulating, right? And then we'll say, okay, let's go through this. And then my co-founder Vadim will say, okay, I'll take from first to 50, you'll take from 51 to 100, and then we'll just go through the list. But we will not just say, hi Alexis, I found your email on Twitter, let's chat. No, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be a good, well-crafted email saying like
Yeah.
why you should invest in us and what is so cool about our company that you should consider even, you know, taking a look, even spending another minute on us. So that would be it. But we sent too many and a lot, and we would be always learning. We would be like, okay, that email worked out, maybe we should be actually doing these types of emails. So it's always
Yeah.
learning.
I love it. You guys divided and conquered. So being really
Yes.
efficient with your time, which is
Yes.
another great thing when you have a co-founder in the trenches with you. And
Yeah.
then you probably had slightly different versions, like an A and a B set, so you could compare and tweak. And so you're really also refining it as you go, because what might work for your company may not work for another. And so I think just understanding how you guys approached it, that structure, is super helpful.
Yes, and also like who would be so like happy and thrilled when 1 out of 10 will reply. We will not
Okay.
have expect like I think being realistic about cold messaging is also like very important for your mental health because
Yeah.
if you send 10 messages and you expect 10 replies and just people dancing and screaming, "Oh my God, I want to write you a check." This is being a little bit delusional and naive, right? But
Yeah.
we should be realistic, saying, "Okay, we are cold messaging. This person might be even frustrated with with the fact that he or she or they already received this, or
Yeah.
this probably person woke up to 50 unread messages, and maybe we would not be on top of their funnels." So having that in back of your mind, I think that also
Yeah.
helps you to have a real expectation.
I love that you temper these expectations along the way. And that's something we all have to do because this is the hardest thing most of us have ever done. And I think you mentioned that in the great feature article when you guys got your seed pre seed. You said it was one of the hardest things that you've ever had to do. Talk to us a little bit as a founder. What did you do? Obviously, tempering expectations, not expecting things from anybody, just doing the work and not expecting it. What did you do to balance like your mental health to relax? Or did you? Was it something you had to do 24/7? Like how did you keep that balance for yourself just as a human being through the process?
I'm gonna lie to you if I say, you know what, I was doing yoga every day and then eating healthy, and that helped me out. So I'm gonna lie. That's in the perfect la la land, right? Perfect
Yeah.
world with perfect people and the perfect timing. But
Yeah.
like I think this is again not being naive and realistic. Me and my co-founder, when we were going into this fundraising, we were like, this is gonna be tough. This is not gonna be easy. But we have to remember that it's temporary, and then this is where we could control it, right? So we set certain deadlines. We knew that we're gonna finish it by X. We had a deadline in our mind, and we knew
Yeah.
that it's not gonna be till like Christmas, for example. So
Yeah.
when you know that it's gonna end soon, it's easier to take. And then the
Yeah.
second thing is that I we took 1 day off. So Saturday we will not be working at all. No outreach, no replying to email, nothing. And
Yeah.
that was like dedicated, and we never broke that rule. Sunday, yes, unfortunately, yeah, we had to work because we figured out like, it's good day to plan the week ahead.
That's right.
Just
Plan ahead so Monday morning you're ready to roll.
yes, instead of thinking about, okay, Monday morning, what do we do? And then do we really want to do it? So like when you set this beginning for your week, you just go, go, go and execute, you know what to do. Because this is
Yeah.
Sunday is a good time to reflect on your results and then say, okay, this didn't work, but this worked. So let's double down on
You gotta set that light at the end of the tunnel that you guys are heading towards.
yeah.
It's not going to be forever. You're going to get through it. That's huge motivation. And how was having a co-founder to help you through? I think that's something you had the benefit of having somebody as well. Did you guys help each other? Was that
Honestly, I think having a co-founder in my case, again, I know there's so many situations, and I know that co-founders usually sometimes broke up with each other and ended in a negative situation for companies. So in my case, it was a perfect match, right? So we knew exactly the expectations and the responsibilities from each other, and then I think on the even I guess on the emotional level, right? We knew that we had the right expectations and we knew what we're getting into. So that
yeah,
really helped us a lot. And then the fact that we would divide the responsibilities 50-50, that was really cool. It wasn't like, oh, I feel like I'm doing more than you. No, I actually got more replies than you. You, I guess, are lazy. No, we didn't have this,
yeah,
the comments or even thoughts. So that helped us a lot. And then I think the way we were approaching, or sometimes when things will not work out, we will not blame each other. We will own the mistakes together. We would be like, okay, we screwed up here, and then let's take a look why actually we did it. We never finger pointed on when things didn't work out, for example.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because whether you have a co-founder or you're solo right now, because maybe you haven't gotten to that co-founder or the right one, which is fine. Don't rush it if you don't have somebody that's not your perfect match that you could be in the trenches with. But to really make sure that you're being realistic, you're hearing criticisms, you're learning from things that didn't work. Don't think of it as mistakes, right? Think of it as new information, and how are you going to adjust and adapt what you're doing so it is successful the next time. And being able to do that with a co founder, you can't blame anybody then. They're just bringing in new data. Whether it's data you
Yes.
like the response or it's data that you don't like the response, doesn't matter. It's that we need to take this into account in what we're doing, and then, decide a
Yes,
next.
absolutely. It's always being adaptive, and we would even adapt during after our calls. We would be like, you know what? I think you really nailed this type of questions. I'll let you handle going further. When this type of questions will come out, you'll do it. And then when other questions will come out, I'll take care of it. So it would be always constant learning, and like the way we were giving feedback to each other, it wasn't like to insult to each other or like to make them feel bad or so. It would be always like, okay, let's do it this way, maybe next time I think this way would be better. So I think when somebody's giving you feedback and you know that it's coming from the good with good intention, also helps you receive and act on it much faster and less emotional.
That's interesting. When you take that negative criticism, but constructive criticism. So there's a difference, when something's
Yes.
constructive. And so that there's a common desire to improve it together. It helps a lot.
Absolutely. And I think one of the superpowers of founders, especially if you're going through fundraising, you have to know how to take and not take negative feedback, because there would be calls, unfortunately. And sometimes when you are just starting out, the ratio would be way more, maybe than 50%, unfortunately, that a person will just come on a call to tell you it will not work out.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they would spend so much time from the calendar, from the day, but there would be times when an investor will be very, a potential investor will be very skeptical or even negative towards your idea, towards your business, and you should know how not to let it go into yourself too much
Yeah.
and not let ruin your whole day, the rest of the day, right? Just because of that person. And that person has 100% right to think that way, right? Like, not everyone has to believe you're going to be the next, your business is going to be the next unicorn. It's just how you receive it. That's
Yeah.
the that's the superpower.
Yeah, it is a superpower, and it's an ongoing thing. You are probably learning every day new superpowers as you go along, but that's a big one that I think early stage it can be extremely challenging and personally challenging. You're going to realize kind of, okay, what criticisms did it really hit you personally, like in the heart, and what criticisms you were able to like roll off and not impact you. So getting to develop that and learn that about yourself, just know it's a process. And obviously you navigated and are continuing to learn. So you put together, how many investors did you actually have meetings with? Or let's talk about like the numbers, like just to see how many you reach out to, or how many did you have on lists, and then how many did you actually get to have meetings with?
Wow, we met at least 100 investors. I'll tell you that with confidence. At least at 100 easily, I'll say. We
Yeah.
sent, wow. uh,
That's the number
like
a
to
lot of people don't talk about, is like, what does
Yeah,
this
like
start from?
um think about it. Maybe on a daily basis I'll send on average 10 emails,
Wow.
5 to 10 emails at least, and then my co-founder will do the same thing, right? So
Okay.
uh
So 20
and
a
we were
day.
doing yes, so we were doing it for quite a good some time during the summer, right? And also in the summer, people tend not to be like, sometimes they'll take some time off, they'll be on vacation, so you have to follow up all the time with them. So that could be, yes, so that numbers just add up. So like, I don't know, to be I guess safe, I'll say at least 500 outreach we've done.
Yeah. And that's okay. That's normal. I want everybody out there to know. And worry less about the numbers. It's more about who you do get a response from. So don't worry about the number, right? You put in the work, you got to do it. That's like you got to water the garden. But
Yes.
be excited on what actually ended up growing from that, planting all those seeds. So talk about like what excited you when you got a response? Like what were the responses where you're like, okay, this is moving in the direction that we might, you know.
I was surprised that I like first we were a little bit, I guess I don't want to say shy, but like nervous to email like executives or like the
Yeah.
top VCs that invest or prefer to invest in a bit more mature company than the pre-seed round. So,
Yeah.
but when we started getting response from them and saying, "Hey guys, I like it. You guys are too early for us, but I want to jump on a call with you and see." And then we were like, "What? Like, are you serious?" And then like, wow, I would be so amazed. And the partner would actually jump on and he'd be like, "You guys
Wow.
know, like we invest, let's say at least you have to be at this seed stage of Series A, right? For example." And they'll jump on the call, but they will say, I want to give you feedback. I'm curious. And then they will do an introductions to somebody that they know would be a good fit for us to approach. And that was like super helpful for us. And again, we're very grateful. And then the fact that they replied, and then you could see that on the call, they were giving us undivided attention. Not, it wasn't just for a check mark, but we genuinely piqued their curiosity, and they really tried to help. Like they would brainstorm, they would come up with like, I think this could be a better way for you two guys to approach or something like that. So that, and we are super grateful for those folks. And
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, where it felt like they actually wanted to help you, even if it wasn't the right time and moment. There's two things that have to line up, right? Which is like it's something they love, they're excited about, and they invest in. So their investor thesis, and then the timing, right? Maybe it's not the right stage, or maybe they're between funds. So getting the warm introduction when those things don't quite line up is also a huge positive. Like a founder should feel good about that call.
yeah, it was, and they would be very genuine and also not super harsh with us. That was really surprised because you would expect that those top VCs they would be just like hitting you really hard, right? But no, like they were very genuine and very kind to us. Also, another strategy that could help out potentially is approaching other portfolio companies. So, for example, if you're going to an angel investor that you think would be perfect fit, you guys would be perfect fit to each other. The good way was like just to look at the portfolio companies and
Yeah.
then get in touch with that person, and that will help you. It's sort of like your due diligence also on your end, getting
Yeah.
feedback from that portfolio company founder, right? Saying, okay, this investor really was helpful in ABC for us, for example. So
Yeah.
there are many ways, and I want to make sure that one message, if other founders could get from me, is like, don't get discouraged. Is like, if one strategy didn't work out, there's so many strategies, and there is no shortage of like good ideas or good ways to implement. There's so many um, investors. There's so many people that want to start investing. So definitely don't get discouraged, and then just keep going and explore other options. If LinkedIn is not working out for you, maybe Twitter should be. Or if Twitter is not working out, maybe LinkedIn should be. Or maybe you should go to different events, pitch
Yeah.
competitions. So I just gave you like at least 3 to 5 ideas how to do it. So
I love it. And it's again, try and experiment and also see if it works. So have a way that you're like, all right, is this working? Don't keep doing it if it's not. You
yes,
don't have time during a race to waste. So if something's not working, experiment more and find something that is, and then do more of that. I think a lot of times founders spend too much time doing the same thing that's not working, and then their whole raise goes by and it hurts them.
yes. If you send, I'll give you just to be realistic. If you send one cold outreach to like 50 people and you got zero response, I mean like zero response, like just totally ignoring, maybe you should tweak your message. Maybe what you said, like, so this is the way, this is the good signal for you. I'm not saying if you message 50 people and they didn't invest in you, there's something wrong with you. No, let's start with the baby steps, right? Before the person invests in you, that person should answer you and then take a meeting and then this and this. So like try to fix it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And see what are the ways you could increase the chances.
I love it. And that comes into automation. A lot of times I see founders that'll just blast, they'll just send this huge list. But then if you do that, you're losing all the learnings where if you had sent out a group of 50, saw if it got a good reaction, and then, also maybe prioritize investors that are going to be not necessarily your ideal investor, but ones that are, you don't mind, that are going to be more friendly, start with them so that you can really refine your pitch and your process and your emails. So when you get in front of your dream investor, you're ready.
Yes.
You built up those skills.
I got into the point where you could say the slide like number and I would remember what was on that slide, just like because you've done it so many times and you can confidently pitch it with or without the pitch deck. And I think that's also another important things for founders to remember, because sometimes an investor might say, you know what, I don't want a pitch deck, let's have a chat. Or they'll say, you know what, I cannot do Zoom, can you call on my cell phone now and pitch me over the phone now? And then you should be comfortable with that. Don't get super attached to your pitch deck and expect the pitch deck to do magic. It's you who is doing all the magic or all the work, and pitch deck is just assisting you, I think.
Especially early stage. I think investors are investing in you. They know you don't have the answers. They know you don't have all the product yet. So they're really seeing how prepared you are, how responsive you are, how you take criticism, how it will be to work with you. As investors want to be more than a check too, often.
Yes, and also oftentimes investors would ask like how exactly I could help you out, speaking about being more than a check. And this is where your homework comes, right? You could say, oh, because you worked at ABC company, in your role you manage, I don't know, to grow client base from A number to B, and then that really proves, you hacked this and this and this. It would be cool if we could learn from you, for example. You can transfer that experience and knowledge to us. So, and that I think only wins investors. That shows, okay, I can actually help these guys. I can actually make a difference, and I can do more than a check.
That's huge advice. And you have done some amazing things that I want to get into that are around your cap table. How did you guys get such a diverse cap table? That's exciting.
It's exciting, but it was also not easy, I think, because you would think, can't you just pick everyone's kind of like money, and then just because you are not in the position of like pick and choose kind of thing. But then that was actually one of the ground rules we set up with my co-founder, right?
Okay.
Talking about having a deadline, taking a 1 day off, etc., etc. And then one of the things I was like, I am a huge fan of diversity, and I am being realistic that in the tech space there is a work to be done for diversity, and I'm so happy ecosystem started shifting and started realizing that they have to do the work. But then I cannot just talk about it, right? Like if I'm actually standing for it, it has to mirror in our action. We have to prove it with our actions. And we didn't want to solve diversity, like diversity, I don't want to say issues, but like pro like after the fact, we're like, oh shit, we just realized that our team is not that diverse, right? So like, let's start it from the very beginning, right? Let's start it with, yes, we don't have a 50 people in our team, but we can start with maybe our advisors and investors. So that's something we always kept in mind. And then this is the mindset we started approaching. And yes, and we didn't just dream about it, right? And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me go after women investors. Let me go after investors who want to support women founders and everything. So we started, once we put that idea, once we sealed it, I think we started like taking actions towards that,
Yeah.
towards it, and really helped us. And yes, luckily we ended up having our cap table very diverse, and it only helps us. I'm so proud of it, and I really hope that this is something, it's just the beginning. We will always like we would always succeed. But again, I think starting from early on only makes it better and easier going forward.
Yeah. Oh, that's huge because we all know the benefits of bringing in different vantage points and different ideas and perspectives. And it just, we don't know what we don't know, and so to have diversity in our companies as well as on our cap table, it's a really long term asset and value to your product, what you guys are creating, how you're creating it, how you're going to stay unique and competitive because of that. So we give you a lot of credit. We're thrilled you have a diverse cap table and you're raised. Our big thing here is really aligning with fellow founders. We want to be really curated with who we surround ourselves with, and fellow leaders such as yourself who lead with her, which is humanity, empathy, and responsibility. And we love the way that you conducted your pre-seed raise because we feel you definitely did it, staying true to your own values. But what does her, or what attracted you to the her ecosystem? Like, what does that mean to you guys? And is that why does that resonate with you as a founder? We always love to hear it back.
Okay, sure. I'm happy to answer. But before when I was speaking to diversity, I think I will be dishonest if I don't say also another reason why I was going after diversity. It's very
Okay.
selfish. It's
Yeah.
because I talked to my co-founder. I said, look, I don't want to be the only woman in the room when a
No.
decision we'll have to make, right? This is cool to accept all the checks, but there would be a time when things will not go smoothly all the time, when things will start shaking, and we'll have to come up with sometimes maybe difficult decisions, or maybe we'll have to come together, right? And I was like, I can't
Yeah.
just imagine us working towards some like an important issue or big problem or challenge, and boom, like I'm the only woman, or our room is not diverse at all. So like we
Yeah.
cannot expect a creative or a right decision, or the best decisions when we don't have a diverse team.
That's so important because you have to be real, like you said, realistic, right?
Yeah,
You're raising now, you're getting money and offers in, but what is it going to be down the road when you're in that boardroom or you're in that decision making room and you're the only female voice? That's a lot
yeah.
of responsibility for one person in the room to fight at the table for maybe something that's very relevant or important. So that
Yes,
is,
and then after that, I can't complain, right? Saying, oh, this is what we did, and then if I come to you, you would say, well, you knew what you're getting into, you knew who's going to be in the room. Like, why are you so surprised? So I think overseeing it, I know for founders it's very hard, because founders would think a lot of times, even me, I would be just focused on the deadline of closing
yeah.
the race, and then you'd be like, okay, whatever will come later, we'll solve it later, right? But then having that big picture in back of your hand, and thinking, okay, this is what's going to be the next step. I think it's important. It only helps.
It's a huge strategy for people to think about. It's never too soon. I think that's a
Yeah.
big lesson. You guys are in your pre-seed. You're thinking about those things. That's walking the walk, and you're not just talking about it. You are doing it, and you're starting from day one, which is so much more proactive. And we admire that you guys are so great. Um, so tell me a little bit about, like, looking back at your raise, what would you tell yourself that you would have done differently? Is there anything maybe that you wish you had learned a little faster?
I think things that I would learn faster, that there was a time when I thought, are we really gonna finish at the deadline we planned to? Because there was a period maybe like we were getting responses slower than we expected. So I think that would be, I would just tell myself, don't worry, just trust yourself. Things will work out at the end. And the next thing is that don't expect everything to go by the book. Like, again, as I said before, like the ideal playbook is that, you messaged an investor, they'll answer, and then you'll take a call, and then this and this and this will happen. No, that wasn't our case, right? Sometimes an investor will reschedule, sometimes they will say, oh, I'll take a meeting if you can clarify ABC questions. So be ready, don't be off, don't think that it's something is wrong with you. It's just sometimes that's the way that that person prefers to deal with. So I think that's going with that mindset is only helps. But again, I think it was because I was not experienced much. I would always like take it. I don't know. I guess I'll think that maybe there is something wrong with me.
It's not just you. No matter how many rodeos you have, we hear that from a lot of founders. It's natural. I think it's part of your superpowers because you wonder, is it me? If you aren't wondering if it's you, perhaps that's, something you're ignoring. But we definitely all feel that at some level. Maybe we get better at knowing it's not us and it's just, circumstances. But bringing back to that point you made, you don't know the other person, what they're going through, what their lives are right now. And people are human. And you don't always know why the response is. So don't assume it's you. We all kind of feel that and think that at some point. Just if we could share that with you, just know it's you just never know what's
Yes,
on the other side.
it's not. And please, just having that, I think, mindset already takes so much from your shoulders off. You don't start overthinking, and then once you start overthinking, you will be like, oh my god, this whole thing is totally wrong, maybe that's not even the right time to raise and everything. You'll start bringing wrong ideas after that and wrong actions following. So
Yes.
definitely don't get discouraged.
You can't control the other side, but you can control the downward spiral of thinking that it could lead to. So that's a very good point. Stay positive
And
so you attract, more
yeah,
opportunities.
yes, and never take just an answer no. Like my advice would be like always be curious, no, but why? Not from the
Yeah.
perspective of like I'm gonna challenge this investor and I'm gonna show that he is wrong. No, just be curious and say, okay, what made you to think? Is there any concerns I can clarify with, right? And then if your investor probably will say, you know what, I think the market is too small, for example,
Okay.
maybe you can actually answer back and say, hey, this is the research has been done already and the trend is going upwards, for example. So always be curious the logic behind why are they answering or reacting this way, or maybe because they are being negative towards I don't know, you, because I don't know, they think if you're a first time founder it will be, unsuccessful. So if you can find out the logic behind and the reason behind, and then maybe you can help them out, and that shows that you can answer these questions and you've already thought about these things, might actually change the investor. I'm not saying once you answer this question they'll just throw the checks with you, but they will say, you know what, let's keep chatting, maybe let's have another call, let me introduce you to somebody else. But
That's
don't just take
great.
no and then disappear. Don't do this.
Get every little ounce of information you can. It could be that little tweak or that little, maybe on the next call you answer it right away and not
Yes.
leave it ambiguous. It helps. So that continual learning today, I think, is a huge message. You've done it so well with your co-founder. You were able to stay positive. We are all cheering you on, seeing you as a female founder, seeing you both together as, minority founder. I mean, there's so many things that you are inspiring by walking the walk, and to take the time with us today. We are very grateful to you. These learnings are going to pay it forward for many of us who are still in the trenches, and we hope everybody can share their real raise experiences and keep this going, because we are here for you on your next round. We're cheering you on, and welcome to everybody who, now we have you guys a part of the ecosystem. So anything we could do for you, let us all know. Anything you'd like to say before we go?
Thank you so much for having me. I really hope my message or my story helped somebody, even just by a little bit, but I think I can already call it a success, right? So my message is that you will find your crown. Just stay true to yourself, and that way you will attract the people who will believe in you and cheer for you. I think that's the message that I can say.
Well, we're your cheerleaders for sure, and can't wait to see the many exciting announcements and headlines for Paperstack. We'll have you back again, I'm sure, on the next round that you're going to raise, I'm sure. And thank you so much. It was wonderful seeing you again. I'm glad that we were able to have the time.
Thank you so much. Pleasure was talking to you. Thank you.